Hey everybody, welcome to the Ramskull doubleheader weekend, game 1. So what we normally do on the weekend is we usually, one of the 2 days Tom will have off, and so we'll play 2 games in one day. Usually a predetermined set point limit. We'll just throw down twice, one with our list that we thought was going to work and didn't, and then the other one with the list that we revamped, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to take you through the first game in picture form. This will be the first time I do a video in picture form, which is interesting. It's been a challenge trying to get PowerPoint to do what I want. I don't even know how to do anything after this, so we'll see if I even get this video up. So I'm just going to I put some notes in some of the pictures so that I knew where I was going and what I was thinking about saying, because I had to go through and edit as I went. So this might get scatterbrained a little bit, but so I think I'd start by showing the armies off. Oh yeah, look at that, there's some chariots. I wanted to just kind of get some close-ups of the work being done to the army, or that's already been done to the army by other people and myself. These are how I received the chariots, so obviously they have a little bit of work left to do. Paint the bases, flock, and so on and so forth. Finish painting the models on the chariot, change some of the colors. I am going to stay with the red color though, so I'm really happy with the way that looks. Though the guy who sold them to me painted them in such a fashion that I will never be able to replicate bone that he painted them in, so I'm not going to change these guys, but the rest of my army is going to be a different bone style. So otherwise the red works. I really like it. My high elves are that color, but my dwarfs are not. My dwarfs are blue and green, so they look really good too. We'll get that up for the next video. Next one we're going to have a dwarf game. So let's see, I started painting a tomb scorpion because I thought they were really cool, and he looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. Let's see, those are my archers, and I am painting those. Washing and brushing and highlighting and doing all that fun stuff that you do with bone. And it's annoying. Moving on. Alright, here we go. So, what I'd like to point out in this picture is that the Tomb Prince and the special character model, Cetra or whatever. That's not Cetra. But I painted the Lich Priest, so I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I think he looks really freaking cool. And I'm going to get another one of her, the female neck Hierophant chick, so I can repaint her, because I just don't like it. I don't think it's going to turn out well if I try to strip it. So I'm just going to leave her the way she is and just get a new one and repaint it. Because what's $16 for her model? Nothing. Alright, a couple screaming skulls, my casket, you know how that goes. Then my conversion is just tacked together so I can play with it. We're just using stone until I get back to the States, so I can get the actual feet, and or the kit comes out, an actual kit for that, and the Colossus. And so until that day, he says like this. I do need to add some skeletons to him, so it looks like they're pulling him and chiseling him. He's supposed to just be not completed yet, So I think it looks cool. Obviously some some Necropolis Knights looking snazzy. Oh yeah, Tomb Guard. And they're going to look really cool when they're done. I'm going to take a lot of time on these guys, because there's only 30 of them. That's all I ever really need to play in any given game, even up to 2,500 points. I don't feel like I need more than 30 of them. So yeah, they're going to look really good when they're done. And we'll move on to the Skaven army. Wish Tom was here, but he's working, I think? Yeah, he's at work right now, so I have to do his narration for him. The only thing not viewed in this picture is his 2 units of gutter runners, and they got little capes on. You'll see sometime in the video. So yeah, you got the cannons, the hell pit, the storm vermin, a couple of brick slaves, and clan rats, and so on and so forth. I just want you to know that that doom wheel is painted extremely well. Okay, so there's a couple close-ups. He took the other cannon out because it's halfway painted and he didn't want to show it, so I thought this cannon looked really cool, and he's taking a different approach with the next one. It's going to be a little bit brighter. So I like the way it looks. I think it's awesome. And we also decided that he's not going to paint his Skaven army, all the rats, until he gets an airbrush, because, well, I think he painted about 25 or 27 of them right here, and he just went nuts. So he decided he's going to try to finish his Lizardman army instead, and he's going to go that route. More pictures of the rats. Now, this is just the best part. I just think this doom wheel looks fantastic. The way he did it, everything done to it, just looks great. So he painted it as he put it together, so obviously he took enough time to sit there and do it up. And took my advice, of course, because, you know, super helpful, because I used to own a Skaven army at one point as well, and I told them don't try to paint it, well, after you put it together. That's just a terrible idea. So, moving on. And here we go. This is the setup for game 1. It's a, we played Dawn of War, or Dawn Attack, that's the one, Dawn Attack, and this is how deployment went. On my left flank, I'm looking at a casket, the Screaming Skull Catapult, 5 chafe, then they got a 30 brick archers, Tomb Guard with 3 characters in it, level 2 Tomb Priest, Tomb Prince, and a Necrotech with a 1+ rerollable armor save. It's just the Luckstone, or 2+ rerollable armor save with the Luckstone and the armor Silver Steed. 3 chariots, Flaming Banner, Hyro Titan, 40 archers with the level 4 Hierophant in it, and another Screaming Skull Catapult. And for him, he's got 2 cannons, the Doom Wheel, the bunker unit with 2 level 4 wizards in it, and they're all decked out with power stones, power scrolls, preservations, amulets, and there's a dispel scroll on his engineer and the big storm vermin brick, and a couple of units of slaves, a couple of units of what are those guys? Rat darts. And then he got his helpet up there. So that's just the way the dice rolled, because you had to roll which quadrant you got to be in, and my level 4 got pushed all the way to the other side. So very unhappy that he didn't get to support my army, but shit happens. One thing to note here is before the game started, the 2 very best of friends wanted to talk before the battle and give each other good luck and high fives, because 1 or 2 battle reports ago they met in the fields of combat and they just wanted to shake hands and give hugs and shit. So until the Fellblade came in and killed them and ruined their friendship, an awesome friendship. So we just thought they should be seen together again in public. So we're gonna create a story for them. All right, and moving on to my magic for Tomb Kings. I got the Desert Wind, Protection, Righteous Smiting, and Skullstorm. Perfect spells for rats. Righteous Smiting's perfect. Yep. Everything's perfect except for Desert Wind. I could have used something else. Actually, Desert Wind helps. Never mind. I think I got perfect spells. And this is where I screwed up. I should have taken Death. Excuse me. Oh. Okay, I should have taken Death, but I took Lore of Light, and I got Bretonian Sign Warp and Speed of Light. And shit happens. I learned my lesson. He, on his 2 level 4s, went 1 Plague, 1 Rune, and there's his spells. Wither, Plague, Dread 13, Vermintide, Skitterleap, Death Frenzy, Dread 13, Cracks Fall. What an annoying set of casters. And then his level 1 engineer got Warp Lightning. So we move on to the movement phase of Skaven turn 1. And he rolls a 111 on his Doom Wheel. Awesome! Doom Wheel stays too close to do anything. And he maneuvers a couple bricks around. Yep, just like so. Maneuvers some bricks. Points help hit in a direction. Doesn't go very far. So on and so forth. Moves a brick towards the hill / other side of the field. And rolls a 9 for magic. I got 8 dice because I channeled a lot. 2. And it looks like he got 10 and he channeled 1. Okay, so for the Skaven turn 1, he decided to go with Skitterleap on his first spell. And he Skitterleaped his Plague level 4 behind my Tomb Guard, knowing I'd have to reform and shoot his dude off eventually, but he would get a dreaded 13th off because at this point he's just too far away to make a difference in the game. So he Skitterleaped him in. Then he rolled the 25 for dreaded. Then I dispelled it on 6 dice, rolling a 25. Alright, so then he goes to Wither, and he withers, because he uses 3 tokens, and it irresistibly casts, and he miscasts, rolls a 3, and yeah, he sucks himself into the warp. And he kills 4, 5, 6 guys with him. And they're withered, so now they're just toughness 3. But there's a level 4 plague on, and I couldn't be more happy about it at this time. So, it happens. Now this is what's gonna keep happening for the rest of the game. He's gonna shoot his cannons at the at the casket, toughness 10, hoping to score a wound on it because it doesn't have a damn invulnerable save. Man. So, obviously he wounds it, has a chance to completely wipe it off out of the game turn 1, and he fails and rolls a single wound, and that's the story of his life for the rest of the game. Alright, moving to Magic. So, yeah, I decided that this is obviously not a map or representation of our current game, but our next game. But so my movement in Magic, so what happens is I move my chariots up the hill, I move my chaff up to interdict his rat dart and his storm vermin, and give him a straight shot for his health hit to just kind of keep his health hit tied up in the center for a little while. And that's what happens. So Tomb King's turn 1, I try to cast Desert Wind, and he dispels it. I try to cast up the Skullstorm with the beefed version, and he dispel scrolls it. And then I try to cast this casket, and he dispels it again with the rest of his dice. So effectively shutting my turn 1 magic down, but I burned his dispel scroll, so I feel okay. So nothing terrible. I wish I had pictures, I'm sorry. Then we go into shooting. My archers decide that they want to stare down Hell Pit and fire a bunch of shots at him. And I cause a wound. Hey, look at that. A bunch of archers causing wounds on Hell Pit. That's a good day. And then my catapult, one of my catapults connect and deal, 3 or 4 wounds to the storm vermin. Sweet. Alright, so Skaven turn 2. He moves, his Doom Wheel doesn't go very far at all again. And so he moves a rat dart up to interdict the shooting so it doesn't go back towards the scans or do anything crazy like that. It's just a rat pack, whatever. He reforms everybody over here and start moving in a different direction. And as you'll see in the next picture, skadoosh, Hell Pit runs right into my cavalry, like I said, and his other guys move around and start hitting up the hill to check my chariots so my chariots don't slam into Hell Pit with a flaming banner and just wreck his face. Okie dokie, that's what the movement looks like at the end of the turn. I know my movement wasn't great. I maneuvered some guys and pushed them up, and I walked my right unit over, but shit happens. Alright, so it looks like I got 4, 6 dice. Whew. And he has a hell of a lot of dice, noting that the Storm Banner was turned on my turn 1, and I rolled double 4 to drop my catapults on him, and turned off to turn 2. So, and no gutter runners come on the board this turn either. I should have put that in my notes earlier. Alright. So, he skitter leaps his Doom Rocket Engineer down my lines, and tries to Warp Lightning because his other caster is out of range. So that's all he could do this turn. Lucky for me, I dispelled the Warp Lightning and let the Skitter Leap go off, and watch what happens next. That is what happens next. He takes out 2 of his guys because he can't restrain. Awesome. And then he Doom Rockets and takes out 4, 8. So he takes out 9 archers with the Doom Rocket. Pretty effective. He was hoping for an above average roll and get over into the Tomb Guard, but what are you gonna do? Let's see. Hell Pit just completely destroys the cavalry. Who would have thought? And that's what the board looks like at the end of the turn. Not a whole lot going on. Alright, so Tomb King's turn 2. No ambushing for me either, so my Entomb Beneath the Sands doesn't happen. I shuffle some units around right here, kind of preparing for the Hell Pit disaster. I charge my chariots into that bunker, into that unit of slaves. And of course I consistently move my archers 4 inches a turn, failing to cast Desert Wind because he hates me and keeps dispelling it. Keeping my Hydro Titan within 12 inches of my Hierophant so that I get the extra dice. Woo! I rolled a big magic phase. Feels good. Feels good. Alright. So, for magic, I cast Desert Wind. It goes off. I throw some dice at the casket. Oh, and he only gets 6 dice. Poor guy. There it is. I got, jeez, Righteous Smiting went off irresistibly. Fantastic. And I rolled a 6. Righteous Smiting, why didn't I write that down? So I rolled a 6, and I killed 4 guys. Failing to save a couple. I actually saved a couple on regeneration rolls, and I made her 4+ forward save because she has a Talisman of Preservation and the scrolls, Nekahara scrolls or whatever, those scrolls from the main rulebook, or from my rulebook. And then I irresistibly cast the Casket and do 4 more wounds to left, or not to lefty. This isn't Skaven AZ's channel. I do 4 more wounds to the Help It, which is awesome. I love doing wounds to Help It, and he doesn't die, so. I was almost lucky. And then I irresistibly cast Skullstorm, beefed, and just tear through his units. Of course, I should have went through his bunker unit first, and then into his Storm Vermin, and I should have brought it from the rear to the front. But of course, I just sent it straight down the line, and it went off the table, as it always does. And it never gets a chance to travel around and do, mayhem. I'll learn how to play Tomb Kings one day. Alright, and on to shooting. I go ahead and take some pop shots at the bunker unit, and it dumps 8 inches off, and I land one straight on Help It. And of course I roll a 1 to wound. Awesome. And I do about 20 wounds in combat with Righteous Smiting being off, so just doing a ton of work here. Feeling pretty popular at this point in time. Now, Skaven turn 3. At this point, he gets 1 unit of Gutter Runners to come on. So he's trying to take out my Hyro Titan because, well, it's a pain in the ass for him, and it's giving me a bunch of extra dice and making it impossible for him to dispel anything without throwing just a bunch of dice at it. And he moves his Help It up, his Stormbright, he just kind of moves everything up and just continues to push forward. And, yeah, this thing right here, this bastard device of hell, it's about to wreck face. Previous. Okay, so he has all those dice right there, and so he throws 6 straight dice into Dreaded and fails to cast it on 6 dice. So his magic phase is pretty much over, and I dispel the Warp Lightning. That's the only other spell he has on the table since he lost his first level force. So that was a fast magic phase. On to shooting, rolls a 10 and kills the Casket. Nope. Yep, does a 10 and either doesn't wound or kills the Casket. Either way, something bad happens. And then he rolls a misfire and plows directly into my catapult. And, oh, actually that's what happens. He rolls a misfire, plows into the catapult, blows everything up, blew it all up with shooting. It was bad, and that's the end. Oh, where is it? And and in his movement phase again, he reformed his Storm Vermin, which is awesome, into some better ranks. And everything's gonna blow up down here. Yep, there it is. Oh god. So, Doomwheel making its points back twofold, maybe? Getting close to twofold. Alright, and his other Gutter Runners come on the field. And those Gutter Runners take shots at the Hyro Titan. I'm sorry. They just take shots at the Hyro Titan. They're already on the field. And guess what? They do 3 wounds. Lucky them. I only do like 10 more wounds this combat, and he does 1. Because I keep healing off Righteous Smiting, which is awesome. And nothing happens. Alright, so Tomb King's turn 3. So what we're gonna do here is I got my snakes to come on, and what happens to them is they roll like 8 inches backwards, and they are right up against the board edge. So what I decided to do is face them towards the cannons because I'm too far away from the bunker unit, and just nom on some cannons. Alright, and I get a huge magic phase. Big magic phase for Tomb King. And he gets that many dice. So pretty freaking awesome. I cast Desert Wind, it goes off. I cast Smiting in a bubble, and it goes off. Hell, I had so many dice, so I was like, why not? Let's cast Time Warp on the Tomb Guard. Because that seems like a good idea, right? Goes off. And then the last one I want to use is Casket. But at that point, he hadn't tried to dispel anything. So he was able to easily dispel the casket. Sad day for me. Should have cast that with all the dice instead of Time Warp, because Time Warp did nothing for me. But, again, I'm a bad Tomb Kings player right now, so... Yep, there's the smiting going off. There's... Those guys must have shuffled over, whatever they did. And shooting phase. I shoot the help hit with my archers, and he takes 1 wound, failing his regeneration save. And he doesn't get up. He just stays dead. And I also had turned my unit around to shoot at the gutter runners, and they're all dead. Woo! No more gutter runners on that side of the field. And I do some more wounds, and he's still steadfast by 1 model. And those guys are just sitting there, waiting patiently to shoot the Hero Titan. So are those guys. And so are my snakes. So, let's see, he rolled a 10 for magic. Because he didn't really move at all, other than the compulsory moves he had to make, and minor adjustments he had to do. So he's got a lot of previous. Okay, we're gonna stick here for a second. All right, so for the turn 4 Skaven, he casts Warp Lightning. It goes off. He gets a couple models. He casts Cracks Culch. Gonna take out my chariots. I despell scroll it finally on the bottom or top of turn 4. So that's cool. And then he throws the rest of his dice at dread at 13, and again fails to cast. Can we see a pattern here? Why he's not decimating me this game? Yep, there's a pattern. Okay, moving on. Shooting phase, he misfires the first cannon and the second cannon, but the second cannon rolls a 6, the first cannon rolls a 1, the first cannon blows up, the second cannon's like, F yeah, I got the horned rat looking over me, and I'll get to shoot again next turn, except for the fact that all those snakes are looking at him. Skadoosh. And I finally finish off that pack right there. And again, more shuffling because he wouldn't let me run over the edge of that hill just a little bit, so I had to shuffle even more over, even though I thought I was good prior. And I knew I had a Doom Wheel coming at me, so I just didn't want to do anything with my archers. I shuffled them back enough to where I could, shoot at anything I wanted to on the left side of the field, but it doesn't matter. Alright, he moves his brick up, and he's get in the way of my chariot so that I don't charge his main block. Smart idea. I move my Hero Titan up, and I think this is where I mess up. Yeah, this is where I mess up. Because I think the distance race there is just over 12 inches, so I don't get my D3. Charged into the cannon, obviously. And I irresistibly cast Incantation of Protection, which is awesome. Everybody's got a 5-up forward. Woo! But then I go and I miscast 6. Cool, make her 4-up forward save. And I go to catch Righteous Smiting. And I just blow it. Bubbled it up and everything. Still just blew it. Alright, finished the combat with a cannon and deleted it, which is awesome. Nope, okay, the slaves are just looking at him. He's still not doing anything. Okay, so he's made his moves. I don't know why I have so many pictures of this. Okay, so Doomwheel makes it inside of the archers, does some impact hits, or does some shooting attacks, and then impact hits, and then regular attacks. And he moves his engineer up in front. That's already fired the Doom Rocket, so that he could try to interdict the charge that the Hero Titan is going to try to push onto him. God, I'm yawning so much today. This is ridiculous. Okay, so Tomb Kings 5. Also, his gutter runners took like some pop shots at the Tomb Guard last turn. Took out what, 3 models, and yeah, right, or 3 or 4 models, whatever it was. And my Titan declares a charge on his engineer, fails a terror check, runs away, redirects into those guys, and I think he fails. So I charged into a Storm Vermin with my brick. I charged in there with my chariots, and I roll 5 dice, and he gets 2. So not a bad magic phase, right? Tomb Kings 5. I try to cast the wind, he dispels it, and then I banner with 4 dice and get 4 models back. Or the rest of my dice get 4 models back. Off the banner of the Undying Dead on my Tomb Guard unit. So, a lot of models just got returned, which was awesome. Feeling that. And then we do combat and tie. And or one wins by 1, and it doesn't really matter. Combat just sticks. Do a bunch of wounds there. I end up taking 2 wounds because what armor save 5 or whatever is not that good on Chariot. So impact hits is where I was living out of. And the Doom Wheel decides to just continuously grind down my archers. And that Rat Pack gets up there to interdict with my Tomb Scorpions. Alright, Skaven 6. Really doesn't do anything else. He just moves things where they need to be so he can protect everything he can. I get 5 dice. And he gets 3, 6, 9 dice. 9 to 5. Pretty good odds. Let's see here. He tries to crack Skull down my line. Straight into my Hydro Titan. But I do nothing. And he fails to touch the Hydro Titan with crack Skull. Which is awesome. And then he Death Frenzies and I dispel it. And he tried to Death Frenzy his Skaven Minor Axe. Oh wait, Storm Vermin, my bad. And we continue combat. Oh no, they finished off my archer unit. Woo! And they're still going strong. Yep, I got 1 wound on somebody in there. But he got 3, I got 1. I did a couple wounds in the challenge. And that happens. Nothing happened, actually, that round. Alright, back to combat. My Tomb Kings turned 6, and all I did for magic was cast Banner of the Undying Dead, and I got a bunch of models back again, and then I had also reformed last turn. Of course, I misfired my last catapult. It blows up, I think. Oh no, I can't shoot for the rest of the game. Whatever. Scorpion, my Necropolis Knights charged the Rat Dart that was there just for points. And we end up stalemating in the middle there, needing only 1 more turn to make it happen. And there you have it, folks. That is our Ramskull Gaming Doubleheader Game 1 report. The final score was, he got 485 of my points, and I got something like 1,300 plus of his points, so that's a textbook victory. Booyah! Tomb Kings win, taking out the Skaven, and yeah, but Skaven are going to come back for some revenge next game. They're definitely going to play a little more cautiously with the double seers, and yeah, go ahead and catch that next game. It's actually pretty cool. We decided to go with the Vanguard deployment, or I think it's Vanguard, the diagonal one. And just like you see in this picture, this is actually the deployment for the next game. So that'll hype you up with it and give you a little footnote. And thanks for watching. If you like it, subscribe it. And hope to see you around there. Comment, give us video advice, link us to your channels. If you want to, when we get back to the States, if you want to come to our game store, you want us to come to your game store, and you're down in the El Paso, Texas region within, give or take, 7 hours, we'll probably come out to your store and play with you guys and hook you up with spots on the video or try to get on yours or whatever we can do. We just like playing fantasy, and at the end of the day, what we really like is the craftsmanship, the workmanship, and just really enjoying the company of everybody around us, because we're just friendly people, and we only want to play Warhammer with friendly people. Power gamers are just too much for us. So,